Am I live? It said having trouble connecting, and then it said no intro. Hi, we're live? We're live? Okay. Welcome to Confessions of an Ex-Scientologist, Tuesday morning, take 2. I'm Liz Gale, your friendly and messy. Don't have my audio on. Guys, when I said take 2, I meant this is going to be fantastic. And I'm not sure that we're there yet. Let's get our ish together. I have to fix my audio, guys. That's the most important right now. Okay. We're back. Let's just start over. Let's just start the F over. I'm not joking. Are you are you ready? Are we ready for this? Get in.
Confessions of an ex-Scientologist with Liz Gale. Messy, fun, raw, real. Let's get into it.
Woohoo! Okay, we are back. We got the kid to school. We have confirmed health. We are over the hump for the other one. And we are back in action with Pink Drink. Yes. Yes. So, you guys are here. Thank you. Oh no, you're supposed to be working. Oh, I guess I better bring the tea then. Hi, Mommers. Hi, Stitchers. Stitcher. Mint Candy. Ruthie. Hi, 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 hi. Thanks for coming back. I mean, I know why you're here. Because today we are talking about what happened. What happened to SPTV? First of all, what does that mean? That's what we're going to talk about today. We are going to talk about, and I'm using almost code this morning because I know whoever's watching this, if you understand what I'm about to say, you know a lot. You've been here a while. And I'm talking about the ex-Scientology space. I'm Liz Gale. Did I introduce myself? Hi, I'm Liz Gale, your friendly and messy third generation ex-Scientologist. I got out of Scientology about 10 years ago and immediately jumped into the ex-Scientology, I don't know what you would call it, world? Universe? I mean, it is a little bit like a universe. If you think about like a Marvel universe and you've got different characters that play different roles that have different superpowers. Really. And so we got a whole lifetime generationally growing up in Scientology and then deprogramming out here in a group of a bunch of others who are also deprogramming. And as you can imagine, it's a delight 100% of the time. Not true. Not true. Yeah. Scientology, ex-Scientology is just like Marvel. We seriously could have certain characters. I have known like people who inspired me in the ex-Scientology community, and I do think of them as having superpowers in some way. Some people are brave enough to say things that I've never felt brave enough to say. Some people can see through bullcrap, like X-ray vision. And then, of course, there's like the evil ones, right? The villains of the Marvel era, where, you know, they're like almost personality shapeshifters or just Looney Tunes. But there are a lot of different characters. So instead of making some grand commentary about the ex-Scientology space as a whole, which really isn't my place. I mean, it kind of is, but I don't really want to do that. That's not what I want to do. I just want to tell you guys my experience. I want to tell you guys how it's gone down for me. Because that's all I can do. That's all I really can share with you. But it's been a wild ride. It's been a wild ride. in my last 10 years, the first thing I did when I came out of Scientology, the first real public thing I did was I hooked up with Mike Rinder. Okay. He was one of the first people that I contacted outside of my own tiny little bubble. I had a few people closer to me, but he was kind of the first big X that I contacted or wanted to share my story with. If you're not familiar with who Mike Rinder is, Mike Rinder is an ex-Scientologist, Sea Org executive guy who left and made a show with Leah Remini that won many awards, or at least one award, the Emmys, and really cracked open, in my opinion, cracked open Scientology to the mainstream for people who watched it. So that show is called Scientology and the Aftermath, starring Leah Remini and Mike Rinder. They went around and they interviewed people and told their stories of Scientology disconnection, Scientology abuse. I mean, it was rough. It was rough. The stories that they, not the documentary or docuseries, it was very polished and well done, but the stories and the content were rough. And it was really hard, not just to fight Scientology to make this show, but also to get people who were willing to tell their stories because we got zero. Oh, and so that was the first time that I publicly, really big, went and told my story. I was able to get on that show. Before that, I communicated with Mike Rinder sort of privately because we actually have some friends or had some friends and family-ish in common. While Mike never had any specifics for me about um, like specific things that I thought he might know about, because he spent so much time in the church or whatever you want to call it, fighting for the organization and doing dirty tricks, that anybody who got out of Scientology would often ask him, "What about me? What about my family? What about this story and this person? What did you know? What really happened?" Because we're always trying to find out what really happened to the people that we love in Scientology, right? Um, once you leave a big cult like that and you're shunned, essentially, you get cut off access to a lot of your own family history that's kept from you, right? Like whoever has the photos and the documents and the records, they keep the story. I mean, that's how it works in all of history. So it's how it worked in my family. Um, so sometimes if you want to know what really happened, you have to go to other people who were there who've also left Scientology. And that can help you pinpoint different things that's different occurrences or like where they were here, what was happening, um, that kind of thing. I'm really going in deep, guys. All of a sudden, like, boom. I've been thinking about this the whole time I was driving my kid to school, and I was just like, I gotta get it all out. So just bear with me. I gotta get it. We're starting at the very beginning. Now, Mike Rinder was very kind to me, very nice to me. Um, he didn't solve the problem that my family had been abusive, but he was gentle and kind to me. And he was responsive. And he did keep certain things that I asked about or talked to him about it, from what I understand. And I really appreciate that. So I actually did not ever personally have an issue with Mike Rinder, other than he just didn't have the answers that a lot of us who were raised in Scientology wanted. Hi, yeah, we're back. We just like jumped right in. So, whew, catch up. I don't want to bury the lead anymore, you know? So, so starting with the Mike Rinder. So from there, from that first connection and experience was how I ended up on the Scientology in the Aftermath show, which is, if you have been here lately, is that was the episode that my younger son, my school age son, just watched the other day to kind of get caught up on what was happening. You guys can watch it if you want to. It's called The Perfect Scientology Family. and that's about my family. Episode 3, season 2. So there's that. We can put a link in later. You have to buy it to watch it, so do what you want. Anyway, so that's how I got that connection. From there, many other connections and bonds were formed during that time period. During when I first left, for me, I all of a sudden was introduced to like a ton of other ex-Scientologists. And some of us also were on the show, and we knew that we were going to be on the show. But the thing is that you weren't supposed to talk about it. You weren't supposed to tell anybody. So other people knew you could at least talk to them about the experience because you're like blowing your whole life up. You, it's very scary. I mean, it was for me. You're giving your story and your voice to somebody else when you go on a documentary or a docuseries, anything really. Unless you control the editing, you only can control what you say and what you do. And I've watched enough reality TV shows in my life to know that editing is everything. That's how the villains are created, that's how stories are communicated. You can only put so much into the final product, time-wise. And so, I believe it was in June, I was going through it like hell. I had already lost my family. I knew that I was kicked off of our property. It was sold, contracted to be sold. And we were leaving. And then the entire crew came out from the show, came out to our house. And we had one full day of filming. And it was basically like an interview of my whole life. And I'd never done that before. And it was very emotional. It was very emotional for everybody. But that's how it went down. And then I filmed with the crew the whole first day. There's 2 days. The second day, Mike Rinder and Leah Remini came, and the entire time that I was with them was on camera. There was no before or after. So in a lot of ways, that experience for me was really more about that first day. I mean, because the crew was there both days. It was actually more about the connection with those people than Mike or Leah at that time. I wouldn't even say that I really had a relationship with Leah. I think that we obviously know who each other are. We could have a conversation. I would like to think we'd take each other's call, kind of thing. Uh, so there's that. Mike, on the other hand, I did reach out to way more often and consult or ask things. Sometimes I would ask him information about people, both people I was trying to find from the past of my life, or sometimes just to vouch for a person. If another ex-Scientologist had Mike Rinder's like seal of approval, to me that was really, really important. Okay, so this is the basis of which I come from into this world. And from there, I was like team Aftermath, I guess you would say, because soon after the Aftermath show, an Aftermath Foundation was started. It was the first of its kind. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm so glad you're here because I feel like I see a few of you here, and I'm telling you this story, and everybody else who's watching that is just like, how friends in the room, just kind of relax. So I'm glad there are friends in the room. I'm sure Osa is also in the room, and I'm sure a few of my trolls that don't love me are also in the room. Shout out to you. Um, good morning. So coming in from Mike Rinder, obviously from there, a lot of connections were made, and a lot of them were kind of centered around the new foundation that was formed. It was the first of its kind. It was there to directly help ex-Scientologists. People, from my understanding, it was for people who were exiting Scientology, right? Not necessarily people who'd been out for a really long time. Once we filmed my episode of the show, which I believe was around, a 6-week period when everybody else was filming, there was a long awaited time before the episode actually aired. It was months. And that was a very challenging and unique time of my life in particular. Hi, degraded daughter in the house. Woot woot. Okay. During that period of time when I was moved, my property had been sold, I'd spilled everything and just put it in the hands of this crew that I just trusted would edit me and show me, like, not flattering necessarily, but just, not destroy me. I didn't want to be destroyed. But you don't know what you're getting into. So, obviously, though, there is the fact, I will say, that the entire premise of Scientology: The Aftermath does, as a show, relies on credible storytelling. It does rely on their guests have to be credible. So it's in the best interest of the show to edit us, like, not throw us under the bus, But for me, it was a little bit more than that. In fact, after the filming, one of the main guy came up to me and said, I know that that's really hard, everything that you talked about. If there's anything that you said that you don't want us to put on, let me know. And I was like, that's really nice. However, I didn't think that at the time. I said, I'm not dumb enough to say something on reality TV that I uh, wouldn't want edited. And my son, he was like, Mom. I was like, oh my gosh, you're right. That was super rude. It was a long weekend. I am so sorry, but I do what you will. There's nothing I'm going to take back. And also don't give me that opportunity because then I'll start running through every single thing. At that point, it was out of my hands, right? Out of my hands. So, what else do I want to say about that? The other people who had shared their stories, I was able to get in contact with, or they contacted me. And some really strong bonds, especially because season 2 explored a lot more of generational Scientologists, and it really exposed a lot of really dark stuff. So we had this support group, which was so nice. Once my episode came out, though, I did ghost everybody for like 14 days, even them, which wasn't probably the best way to go about it. I think a couple of those ties, like, I probably did some pretty serious damage to in that first time. Hi, I'm somewhat avoidant, emotionally avoidant. That's me. I don't even know. Okay, so back to the show. I'm not trying to ramble here, but I don't want to miss anything. I didn't make any notes. I'm just telling you guys this story off the cuff because that is how I feel like I'll be the most honest about it. Okay. Gradually, people started to fall off. And I mean that with the kindest heart, that people started to go crazy. The triggering emotions from the show, and then there were messed up things that happened to people. And it's kind of like the name of show business to the people who make these decisions, but it really affected lives, right? So one girl filmed an entire episode, lived in Clearwater, filmed an entire episode about horrible things that happened to her, SA. Younger girl too. And for legal purposes, they ended up not airing it. So she went through that whole process. She blew up her life in the community to tell her story, and then it wasn't aired. As you can imagine, that had a really negative effect on her, and then it rippled through. So then, there were other people. And the Aftermath Foundation, after the show, in a funny way, helped the aftermath of the Aftermath show. Does that make sense? There were people who ended up needing institutional care. like, I don't wanna blow anybody's cover. We all got super messed up from that experience. I think that we were all better for it after, but it was very hard for me, and I know from for a fact that some of that shared experience was just, you know, I can't even a statistical portion of us started having nightmares. A bunch of us, had our anxiety kick in, had literal falling out when people found out we were on the show. I ended up having to move. I was, essentially homeless, houseless anyway. We'll call it that for a while before we could get on our feet again. And then it was so hard. And the Aftermath Foundation did step in and helped a lot of the people. I don't know everything, and that's great that I don't know because that would be a total breach of confidentiality if I knew everybody's business. But I do know that some people reached out and they got help and they got care. And I mean care not by the Aftermath Foundation, but they got professional help, you know? Okay. So then, so then, meanwhile, I leave that. I kind of start doing my own thing, right? I write my book, My Confessions of an Ex-Scientologist Pothead. I do a ton of deprogramming. I'm like learning. I'm reading all the old books, like A Piece of Blue Sky, L. Ron Hubbard, Madman or Messiah. Those are great books. Of course, I read Jenna Miscavige's book. Um, I just really started evolving and deprogramming as best I could, while still this whole time I'm a mom, guys. This whole time, like, not just a mom, but when I very first started the struggles with my family, it was right after I'd given birth. It's like kind of the first fracture moment when I got home from the hospital about 6 weeks later. So, I don't know, you guys are moms out there, but it's a raw time. It can be rough emotionally to pile on at that time. I wouldn't say that I had postpartum depression, but I had like a lot of really big emotions about what was happening in real life. But Emma was also a mom, a young child, a baby and toddler through this period of time. Oh man, thinking about that. Okay. Let's take a break. Let's take a pause. Okay. So people started going nuts. Everybody dealt with it in their own way. There was a lot of really positive reactions to, you know, everybody sharing their stories at the same time and all the attention that was getting, national reporting, all the things. And but not everybody, I think, qualified for help through the Aftermath Foundation. And rumor has it that Leah Remini personally helped some people, Mike Rinder personally helped some people. Everybody kind of did what they could, I think. Um, but some of us that don't present as, I don't know, wrist slicey as others. I mean, that's a cruel joke. Nobody was actually doing that. I'm just saying, like, I think you had to be pretty close to crisis to get that help. And I was never in a position when I was in the crisis to call them or to reach out to them. I reached out 2 times asking for help or money for therapy because there was a specific therapist I seen at a group thing and it was just so expensive. Like, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like $200 per session is a lot. I need a lot of sessions, guys. So anyway, she was kind of affiliated loosely with the organization too. So I reached out to the Aftermath Foundation, and I was told, "No, we don't do that. We don't help." Hey, Blowdrill, thanks. Look at that, you're here. Way to be. Appreciate you. There's my book. Link in the chat. Thank you. Um, they denied me. They were like, "No, no, no. You don't get to have. You don't get that." And I was like, "Okay." And I figured out another way. Luckily, I'm in I don't know, I was able to luck out, I guess, and I had some other skills and some other avenues that I could travel down to try and get some care. I never got an actual specialized cult therapist or anything like that. Actually spent several years getting referred to different places and then, um, telling my therapist about Scientology, and then I just go there the whole time and tell him about or her about Scientology, and then they just stare at you. But that's not what I wanted. I actually found, um, pro tip for any ex-Scientologists out there watching, I actually found that anybody who is familiar with Jehovah's Witness, I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and we have a lot of Jehovah's Witness here. Oh, thanks. And I found that they were at least well versed enough with the basics, right? Specifics like who Xenu is or what's going on, that didn't matter as much as just the idea about how it felt to be growing up that way. So that was nice. Everyone's saying hi to each other in the chat. I love it. That's so nice. So nice. I'm just kind of trauma dumping on you guys today. I'm trying to tell a story and I'm not sure I'm doing it that well, but you'll stick with me. I know it. Okay. We have. So then we have this foundation. Then I start getting random emails, actually. I got a random email. Actually, let's not go into that yet. Just calm down, Liz. Calm down. Calm down. I'm actually feeling a little worked up in my heart to start talking about this next part. But it doesn't have to be like that. We're not in a cult. All right. It's dragging out, but you think we're following. Okay, that's fair. It's a draggy morning. After I was rejected from the Aftermath Foundation for help with therapy, something happened. I don't know what it was. Something happened where the tone shifted. I got an email from a guy named Nick Lister. I was on this huge list of email, and he basically attacked the Aftermath Foundation's leader, one of the leaders, not Mike Rinder, but this other guy who had started a YouTube channel. You guys might have heard of him. He's got Growing Up in Scientology. So what he started doing a lot of YouTube stuff, fundraising for the Aftermath, and he was like the guy. So it was like a shoe-in for me because I felt that I could trust him because he had the stamp of approval from Mike Rinder. So pretty much everybody in the foundation was just good with me. But I started getting these weird emails and news that people had been turned away for help when they needed it the most. And it was making things worse for a lot of ex-Scientologists because it's so hard for us to ask for help. And then when we ask for help and then we were just rejected and kind of just told sorry, no. It was so awful for a lot of people. So I ended up writing an email at that point. I was like, you guys we need to at least help them get food stamps, help them get Medicaid, something where then they can get the next steps going. And that was received fine, whatever. Said, fine, I'm going to go on with my life. I'm going to move away from this. I wrote a book. I do TikTok. I'm doing my thing. And then SPTV started happening. This was a pivotal moment because that big, huge creator started having other creators come on. And then it inspired a lot of people to come out and tell their stories. There were a ton of ex-Scientologists out here. People were doing collabs. Everything was awesome. There were game nights and it was fun and people got along. And that's not where we are today. At all. You want to come on here? You want to come on and chat it out? You're more than welcome to. Let me know. I'd love to. I put that comment up because Blow Drill also is an ex-Scientologist, Dylan, and he was here this whole time. And actually, Dylan, I get if you don't want to come up here. But if you do, hit me up. I should turn my phone on. I'll turn it off of. I'm not sure if I can just text you a link. If you want to. Should we try it, guys? How do I text a link from here? Oh, shucks. Can I? Oh. He's probably not going to want to. Probably at work or something. Feel free. Okay, I did that. Yeah, you were there too. Do you want to come on? Do you guys want to have a chat? I would love that. Honestly. I feel like I'm kind of butchering the story, but it's okay. I'm sure you're all busy with your lives. They saw my thing. They were like, Liz has no friends. That's so sad. Yeah, I think you're my friends, but what do I know anymore? No. Okay, anyway, well, you both got it. Feel free. Do what you want. We did that. It was such a beautiful time in the Ex-Scientology world. In the Ex-Scientology space, um, in the Ex-Scientology space, it was very free time. There were older generations and younger generations. In other words, there were people who chose Scientology voluntarily, and there were people born into it. There was a bunch of never-ins who even coined terms like second gem, which I thought was cute for second generation. And yeah, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. Now, I will say that during this time, the creator growing up in Scientology did help me quite a bit. He did shout outs for me. He had me on. I also think I helped him. I actually went on and told him about the whole TikTok thing, like right as it was blowing up. I was like, you need to get your eyes on this. This is huge. We also had a couple conversations about kids I think I introduced a few new terms that are great. So like we both learned from each other, and that's that. Those are the good old days, right? But eventually, there was a huge fracture in the Ex-Scientology space, and it centered around that Aftermath Foundation. Looking back now, I honestly feel so stupid about how, and okay, so my red flags did go off a lot during that time. I was never actually close enough to this bigger creator where I would ever receive a call along the lines of like, how are you? How are your kids? Merry Christmas, happy birthday. Those type of communications never occurred. That's what I would consider someone to be like more friend or friendly, right? They at least like ask you how your family is. It's kind of a baseline. But during this fracture of the Ex-Scientology space, I started getting phone calls. I mean, not very many. There's one or two that were a storytelling. Like I would get a call. Again, this only happened a couple times, and it would just be this. This is. I need to tell you what happened. It's gonna come out. This is what happened. This is what really happened. So before you hear anything, I need you to know that this is what happened. XYZ happened. So I say, oh, I was kind of dumb. Like, even then, I knew this is damage control. This is a damage control thing, and I am being told one side of the story. Duh, right? Not rocket science. And of course, I listened to that side of the story. So I was told that the Aftermath Foundation had a big crack. This is all publicly available. Because some of the executives on the board of directors who happen to be ex-executives of Scientology. So they used to be in this organization running Scientology, left. Now they're running this organization. That they were judging one of their younger board members, that his lifestyle was so problematic for them that they were kicking him out. And that didn't sit right with me on its face, especially when it's like, well, what are we talking about here? You know, I'm not really going to judge somebody else's lifestyle. And I don't want to get into this person's specifics, whatever. I mean, just for the bare minimum of the story, it was definitely about his relationship to women. He had a wife. Some other other things were going on. There was some accusations, some like video footage came out later. Like just nothing so damning that it has altered this person's course or their career, but enough that the community was riled up. And I thought that the fracture happened because ex-Sea Org members were being rigid and were being judgmental, and they were throwing down their hammer of their Scientology-esque training to punish this younger generation man who was choosing to live his life differently. Because on its face, I don't want that. I would like for us all to have different lifestyles, whatever we want, under consenting terms, right? That's where I draw the line. Consent. And also children cannot consent. So that's a line. Even grown-ups, there's some there's a kinky shit out there. And if consenting people want to do that, you go right ahead, right? So here I am thinking that these ex-Scientology executives are throwing down the hammer on us out here in the real world, which, as you can imagine, is it's offensive. And during this time, I was also sort of continuously given background information about just how horrible these ex Sea Org members were. There was a whole thing about whether or not Mike Rinder covered up abuse, whether or not a lot of accusations were made. I don't have the full story really on any of it other than what I saw when it happened, but accusations flew. It was insinuated or just flat out said that Mike Rinder never had cancer, that he was like faking cancer, which is pretty wild considering he died of cancer. I'm gonna start these. There were accusations that he knew specifically of sexual abuse of a young child and withheld documentation that would have allowed that woman who's alive today, by the glory of God, thank God, to get justice. You can Google and see there's a lot. And it's crazy because it's still can somebody spend their whole life in a cult and get out and then make a show and do these things and be absolved? It is so overwhelming to be in this constant, like, he's a good guy, but he did bad things. He's a good guy, but he did bad things. He's a good guy, but he did bad things. It's exhausting. I don't know where they're all fucking good guys who do bad things, aren't they? It's human, I guess. But anyway, I don't know if he did those things. I honestly don't know. I hope that Mike Rinder did not withhold information. And after enough time has passed from that initial break of the Aftermath Foundation and what I had been told about Mike Rinder, with hindsight and today, I actually don't believe that he did all the things that he was accused of, or that he withheld certain things to specifically like keep himself out of jail. He knew he was actually going to die. And so during that time, I picked my side, essentially. I did. I said, I'm going to go with the fracture, the split off group. I'm going to go with my generation, with the ones who are being judged and criticized. Those that Aftermath Foundation, they can take it. Like, they don't get us. They don't get it. They don't see what I see. And there were a few like pretty bad PR moments on their end. Um, but I did condemn them as an organization at some point in my heart. I was like, those guys are nuts. Screw them. And so when a new foundation was started to be opened up, I was invited to be on the board. And we can go into super duper detail about that another time. But I will say that I was honored to be invited to be one of the SPTV Foundation board members. I felt great about the group that I was being a part of. I felt hopeful and happy that there was going to be an organization to help Scientologists in the way that I really felt like they could, and in a way that all of us who were living differently, had different lifestyles than the regular old, conservative, that we would be seen and valued, and that we wouldn't get less opportunity, right? There were a couple of, well, at least I'm trying to think a couple. That's not right. Is it? Why can't I think straight? There was more representation on the new board of the SPTV Foundation, I felt, than the last one. The other one was the Aftermath had like several married couples that had been married a long time, even in Scientology. And then the new board of the SPTV Foundation had like YouTube creators and had LGBTQ and had non-Scientologists and ex-Scientologists, and it felt promising. And up until that point, I was really buying the whole story that the reason that all this happened was because, again, this alternative lifestyle. Like, my book is Confessions of an Ex-Scientologist Pothead, you guys. I'd say that's an alternative lifestyle-ish. I mean, I'm actually like not, whatever. We don't have to get into all that. That's my book name. That's how people perceive me. That's what it is. Or, again, like being gay, or I'm trying to think just people who lived their own thing. They weren't a married couple trying to tell other people how to live their lives. It wasn't like that. And I was so disappointed with how that went down. Um, Thank you. Yeah, a lot of us believe that story at the time. And that's what it was, just this really simple, like, they're still acting like Scientologists. And so we need to do our own thing. And of course, there's an element of feeling cool, feeling invited. Again, we're talking about other creators. And in the world of YouTube or whatever, your follower count, there is kind of a hierarchy. There just is. It's not something we're doing on purpose. It's kind of a little bit of how the game works. Um, I'm trying to start to think. Okay, so there were a lot of red flags, a lot of orange flags, and then red flags. Um, at the same time, I did feel like a lot of people were being helped by the SPTV Foundation. Um, I know some people who got some procedures that they say really helped them, and I know some people who got funding for education that has essentially changed their lives. So I'm not trying to condemn anybody here or any organization here, but I'm just letting you know that's what I thought was happening. So in my mind, and in kind of what was presented, it was going to be another catch-all for those guys over there who were getting denied. Because remember I said earlier, people were going crazy and everybody was asking for help, but some people weren't getting it. And so it was this idea of like, at the Aftermath Foundation, they don't understand what we really need. They don't get us. And so we need another organization of people who really get it. That's like really going to give people what they need. Who wouldn't want to be a part of that, right? So time goes on, the rift just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. Meanwhile, during some of this time, I don't want to drag anybody into this, but I can't tell the story without bringing this up. But I had connected with, I'm not even going to use last names here, Jenna. Anybody knows who I'm talking about? And like later, she was brought into the mix. I'll say that. And I got to know her and I really, really liked her. And I felt like became good friends. We have a lot of family, like history in common and stuff like that. Not to mention, of course, I had read her book and it really had inspired me. So I really looked up to her and then I got to know her and I just thought like, oh, wow. And then I found out, actually, I don't know what order I'm going in. This might have been before the foundation actually started. But during like these years, right? So my point is that I'm becoming friends with certain people. And then I'm also caught in this sort of rift between other people. And I didn't walk that line too well all the time. But I just really started to care. I just really started to care. I feel like maybe I should have started with this off the bat. Maybe I just had to warm up this morning, but like I just really care. I think Jenna's amazing. I think she's great. You're not gonna hear anything bad from me. And I knew about the relationship between her and this other large creator who now, had this rift happen. It's like kind of all around the same time. And I knew of this relationship and I just tried to kind of like be respectful. I didn't call it out. I didn't try to capitalize on it. Other people have their relationship. They want to keep things private. They want to not tell the world they're dating because they're kind of public people. I'm not going to be the one to call you out or whatever. That's fine. But before this relationship was public, I cared very deeply. Okay? So I know I'm all over the place, but that's what I want to say. And over time, so imagine your friend. We're gonna switch it to not even a creator. Like now we're friends. Okay? Now we're friends. We got a friend. We'll call her Jay. Love her to death. Love her to death. She's telling me stuff she doesn't want on the radar. Cool. I'm not gonna share it. Awesome. Like, get to know. Meanwhile, her boyfriend starts like getting accused of so many things. And there's a pattern of like telling this story and setting this narrative, and this is what really happened, and this isn't what happened. Gradually, right? This is happening. And over time, I'm starting to wake up. And I didn't actually listen all the time, to be honest, because I'm like, oh, haters gonna hate, right? And they do. But the first story is like, oh, I had a he had a physical altercation with another girl before he ever met Jay. But that bitch was crazy. And then, there was another thing like, oh, there was this other ex and was it technically cheating? These things. And I don't really I don't really give a shit except for my friend started to like I don't know, you ever see something so beautiful, so shiny, so gorgeous, and then like slowly just get a little bit sadder, a little bit duller, a little bit heavy-hearted, you know? And that's what changed my mind. That's when I started to realize, um, on like a personal energetic level that something felt wrong. And after that, a series of things happened that I don't need to get into now because this is already such a long story, but like I lost then faith in the leadership of the SPTV Foundation. And once those kind of rose-colored glasses fell off, you know, I basically got the hell out of there. And I'm not trying to accuse anybody of, doing anything illegal. I don't know anything about that. Saying the vibes were off. The vibes were wrong. And I can own the fact that I was raised in a cult and group things aren't really my thing. But I know what type of leadership I do best in. Oh, my tummy's growling. And that wasn't the leadership that I did best in. I'll tell you that right now. Um, and I felt powerless on that board because I felt that people could be rejected without me ever knowing. And that made me very uncomfortable. In order for me to be okay in that situation, I have to have faith in leadership. And I didn't have that faith in leadership. Right? Is that making sense? So at that point, I actually started kind of looking back on some of those other narratives and realizing like, oh, wait a minute, there wasn't actually ever like a call to, hey, how you doing? This or that. It was always a call to, this is what I need to tell you about what happened. Damage control. And the vibes were just off. Off. But meanwhile, there's other people on the board. My friend Jay, who I don't even know if friend is the appropriate term to refer at this point, but at that time, um, I felt was, and I just, I didn't want to call out anything. I didn't want to make a big fuss, but I also didn't really know what to do. She seemed not fine, but like they were together, and they were together, and anytime that I would push back in any area, it was very clear to me that this wasn't the place for me, just for me. I was uncomfortable. So, I bailed out. I bailed out, and sadly, I kinda bailed out of the friendship a little bit more too with Jay because I don't wanna, like, rain on anybody's parade or anything like that, and I don't wanna out anybody or make anybody's I've been in a relationship for 20 years, you guys. We have had some highs and lows. I met my husband 6 weeks. Afterward, I was pregnant. Do not recommend that route. We have had some serious trials and tribulations in our relationship. None of them have ever involved anybody, by the way, being accused of anything like that. Like, nothing illegal. But we've had a lot of troubles before. That's for sure. Um, and so I'm not really one to be like, "Oh, your relationship sucks. I don't wanna be friends with you." That's not really my thing either. But it got to the point where I had to publicly stand for the boyfriend to stand for my friend. Does that make sense? Like, in order to support her, I had to support him. And that made me uncomfortable. And more things started to like really turn how I was thinking. I mean, at some point, on his deathbed, Mike Rinder came out and did a series of videos about this boyfriend and addressing, I mean, in these videos that the boyfriend was accused of using the foundation to get people to hook up with. I mean, I think the actual words that he used were like sexual conquest. I mean, it all just got to really sit uncomfortably with me. And I don't think I'm the only one, because over that time, a lot of people have left that foundation. A lot of people. I don't even know if they have a board anymore. You don't see the collaborations anymore. And you see people scared to talk, scared to say what they really think out here in the ex-Scientology world, because you don't want to be on the wrong side or you don't want to stir up drama. And I like to say, hey, yeah, drama. I'm here for the drama. I joke about that all the time. And am I joking? Who knows? Who knows? But I do think we should talk about this stuff. Yes, let's do that. Let's do that, Blojo. We will do a part 2. Is that what you said? Or standalone? Or you want to come in now? I'm confused what you're saying. Anyway, yeah. So it just got to the point where it was like, I think everybody felt it in this whole community. And it's really hard to trust people out here, especially now, and like some of the things that have been said about me, I find pretty wild. I've definitely had the personal conversations I feel I need to have to clear some of that stuff up. But I mean, the boyfriend, when you, fudge. I forgot to tell you something else. So at some point, oh, fuck. I'm overwhelmed by this story. I think we'll stop there. I don't want to talk about anymore. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I get so uncomfortable, you guys. I freaking hate this. It's just a fractured community. And then, as we all know, what ended up happening eventually is, after multiple women have now said that the largest creator in the Ex-Scientology space has harmed them, or has had a huge conflict with them where they're alleging harm. So that happened, and then it happened again, and then I think it happened again, or maybe I'm counting my friend. So then eventually, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. He's with my friend. Like, maybe they're okay. I don't really know. And then eventually she comes out and she says, he abused me. So now we have two of the biggest names in the Ex-Scientology space literally coming out and saying, we have serious problems, that like conflicts that are bad, bad, bad news. Immediately, stock in SPTV plummeted. And then the first batch of videos, oh, take it back, take the story back. They kissed and made up, came back on the public face of the Ex-Scientology world, continued doing interviews, continuing like representing everybody or doing whatever the fuck they're doing. Awesome. Great. Months later, it happens again. And the first time I didn't say anything. Second time, I'm like, you know what? Fuck this. Fuck this. I'm so tired of this. Like, if she's not gonna stand up, if she's not gonna say, I will. Like, this is lame. This is so lame. Because the part that's so lame is, if you don't, how do I say this? If you tell a group of abused ex-cult survivors that you are being hurt, Good for you. That's brave. That's amazing. And we're here to rally. But if you take that back and say, never mind, nope, what are you doing? What do what the fuck? So I felt like that's the position I was in. I felt like I was in the position where I was like, okay, I don't really know. I'm just going to try and play nice here. My friend is obviously in an active relationship. She's doing the things. I don't want to rain on her parade. I don't want to make things worse. I don't really know. I'm not the pillar of a perfect relationship. I'm not really sure what to do. I'll just like continue to do what I've always done, which is not try to capitalize on anybody else's name, tell my own story, do my own thing, protest, go where I'm invited, etc. And then after all that, I was like berated for saying something. And that shit pissed me off. To hear the words like, oh, everybody else can talk about this except you, Liz, was not the words I wanted to hear. I'll tell you that right now. And that made me mad, big mad, big mad. And in the midst of all that, because at that point I was like, I don't need to stand up for my friend. I do, but this can't be about her because she's probably going to choose, like many women do, to go back for as many times as she's going to do. It's not going to be helpful for me to judge or shame her about that. So I just have to pull myself back. Meanwhile, like we were still making plans and stuff on a personal level. And then publicly, when some of those fell apart and that last tie, I really realized like the spider web has laid its trap and there's a point of no return. And I'm not getting in that trap to try and take someone out who's like potentially too far gone. And that's how I ended up really just sort of distant in SPTV land. Because the few times I was like, are you guys seeing this? Are you seeing this leadership? Are you seeing these choices? It wasn't actually the boyfriend that would jump down my throat about it. It was my friend. And I was just like, okay, this is a cycle that textbooks write about. And unfortunately, I don't think either of these individuals are familiar with psychology textbooks, and maybe they should be. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but like there's a pattern that happens. Real scientists have documented this. And I'm just rambling now, and I'm probably going to end this in a second here, but that's where I ended up now. I ended up realizing that the people that I thought were my friends that I tried to protect in this space, I was really not successful in doing that. And I ended up putting myself at more risk. And now I'm in this position where like a ton of people are mad at me, a ton of ex-Scientologists, a bunch of other ex-Scientologists think that I'm still on like one side or another. I probably have some eating crow to do with the Aftermath Foundation, which if a survivor came up to me today and said, I need help, I would send them to the Aftermath Foundation in a heartbeat. So, I mean, I obviously have a lot more growing to do and a lot more stand taking to do, but that's how I got here. Was like I thought I was part of a group that was actually using their voice to lift others up, and it felt like a a swamp of everybody's stuff. And everybody has stuff, but once you start coming at me because I'm gonna talk about it, that's where I'm like, shut the fuck up. I'll say what I want when I want. And I guess that makes some people mad. Some people mad, but that's how you have to be. So, hey, free lesson to all you ex-Scientologists out there. Like, don't let anybody else, don't be fearful. Don't be fearful. I think the best thing we can do is just say what really happened, say how we feel. And that is what happened, you guys. I'm way better at shorts. I probably could have put this all in 1 minute. I mean, it's like oldest tale in the book. Thought he was a good guy. started dating a friend, treated her like shit, lost all faith, not a stan anymore. Period. All right, let's see some of these comments. I just went off. I'm honestly sure. Static sounds? Oh, shoot. That means my thing's dying. I really gotta go then. Plus, I'm getting blown up. Do you feel stronger now that you've realized you had bent your morals trying to mollify your friend? Ooh, is that like a sick burn question? What does mollify mean? Appease the anger or anxiety of somebody else. Oh, good word. Do I feel stronger? I don't know about that. No, I feel kind of alone. I feel honestly alone. I feel like I've ostracized myself by being like, hey, you fucking suck. Do better. It's literally actually pretty much all I've said too. I still think people are redeemable, but I don't know. I got really grossed out. So that's all I'm gonna say for now. I really have to get off because if there's static, that means my stuff's dying. I'll see if Dylan wants to go live another time, maybe tomorrow. This was a weird live, you guys. I'm actually trying to make this. Oh, are you there? Do you want to come up here? You have to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down because I can't hear you. Oh, that was confusing because he gave a peace sign. Okay. I think I'm going to have to change my audio for a second too. Okay, you're coming on.
Oh,
Is that
can
what
you hear me?
Yeah, big time.
Oh, all right.
Let me change my audio and charge my thing. Hold on a sec. Hi, I'm so glad you're here.
Yeah, so I wanted to at least hold a little space because that's a lot. My heart was racing too.
Was it?
Yeah, a little.
My sound's gonna change. That was a lot. I mean, I'm a rambler too, so I don't know. Tell me what you were thinking. Tell me how you feel. Take it away, boss.
No, thank you. I wasn't sure how deep you were gonna go, so I was like, a little further. Are you gonna go further? You're not.
There is more. I never know what's Oh, I'm talking to this, and I should be talking to this now. I have to charge my sound box, guys. I never know what's appropriate.
I think I liked what you touched on when you said that it made, like, I recoiled a lot too, trying to kind of walk that fence of like, I don't want to condemn a friend, and it brought up a lot of stuff that I thought I had dealt with, like a lot of disconnection and abandonment issues and like, I don't mind being vulnerable, but when there's no solution inside, it's like I'm the first one to spin. And I think we all do that. Is like, it's almost like what with A equals A or whatever it would be, right? It's like we figure out ways to solve it, and even like you touched on in the beginning, asking for help or even putting yourself in that victim role is really hard. Even when you think you've outgrown it, and even in what I do for work, it's like I put myself in this and people, they'll poop all over you. So it's like, and then you're like, well, I guess I deserved it. I should have worked harder. And then you like devalue yourself on their behalf and so it's, it's a lot of those things that I think it's just those ingrained things where it's like, you either have to stay on point all the time, or you're going to, like, those little trigger habitual scar patterns they're ruts, and you might get stuck in them from time to time. So it's this has been hard. I completely, like, I never monetized or fell into that whole thing, but at the same time, I felt like I wanted to communicate, and I wanted to connect, and I thought a lot of the mutual parallel decisions we made were based on those things. And I was like, wow, I have Dare to Dream. I have maybe a little bit of a community. that's building. I didn't want to trust it, and now I'm glad I didn't, because I knew I couldn't trust it. No, but it was, it doesn't help your trust issues for sure.
To say the least. Yeah, it does not help trust issues, especially, I don't know about you. Do you feel like you were duped? I genuinely feel like and I don't mean to put that on the responsibility of anybody else. I'm not trying to blame anybody, but for me, I feel like I signed up for something and then I found out that it wasn't what I thought. It wasn't ever going to be what I thought. And no matter what I did, I couldn't make it what I wanted it to be.
Right. And I think that last piece is huge, because we did all try to make it what we thought it was going to grow into. And we tried to, even in the face of, well, I do it all myself and nobody's helping. And I was like, well, I volunteered. I'm coming up with ideas. I just keep getting and it's
I don't know if anybody mentioned this, but Dylan here was on the SPTV Foundation board as well. Maybe should have opened with that. I'm just like, hey, everybody, Dylan's here. You know who he is. If you've been watching this long, you know who he is. You love him too.
Well, you do, and I don't, because I stay pretty ambiguous lately. I haven't put myself out there just because I don't need it. Reddit has a freaking hard on for me, just like everybody else. They hate me. Everything I express, like, I've never been attacked more than in this community by people like Stephanie Hutchins, which we were on that a couple times. Both, like, we were both on the same vitriolly filled. It's weird. It's weird to be. I mean, I guess if we were a stronger community, that would have been a sign that we're winning. And I keep trying to come back to that when I write something or I post something, because that's all my confront is right now, is posting things and just being like, there's some words, you can do it however you want.
I saw your ship post. I liked it. It was a story.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Oh yeah, the ship post.
Yeah.
I was like, I've been trying to communicate, and I didn't think communicating for me was it, so I'm trying to tell stories, but even that got hate.
It's artsy. I liked it. Of course, it got hit. I mean, Dylan and I are both in this. We are both in this situation where anything we say or do, there is a group over on Reddit that is going to criticize us, and there is a big part of me that thinks that's the nature of the game, and the better that we do, like the more clicks and views, or the bigger our names get out there or whatever, the more we'll get. It's probably proportional. But it sucks when we're pitted against each other, like when we're supposed to take the hit for somebody else. And I think that's an effective way to destroy a community. Like, Dylan and I would get attacked for things that other community members were doing because we were all on the same board, as if we're all of the same mind or something. But the pressure of that kind of got to me too. It's not even that I want to be accepted, or I've never asked for anything from this group. My coming into this, I came into this intentionally. I didn't come into this trying to vomit my trauma all over everybody. And not saying that anybody else is doing that. My intention was, am I in a stable place? Maybe. But am I existing and surviving? Yes. But am I missing and needing this? Yes. That's why I chose to come into a community that I knew I would probably be attacked for. And unfortunately, I don't know. I think I lost that one. I look at, did I get duped by, the whole news foundation? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, did I have, like, can I totally echo what you said about the Aftermath Foundation? Unfortunately, yes. And I've tried. Like, when the SPTV Foundation was formed, I was behind the scenes helping people get the Aftermath Foundation application filled out, getting people things they needed, pushing them, because it is so freaking hard. And the only way I could do that is because I never asked for help from them. If I did, I would have felt like this weird master servant thing. That's, no matter what, that's how that is presented by the master.
right? And whether they understand, it's like sort of like what you said about, and I'm sorry, I'm all over the place.
No, you're fine. I've been over the place for an hour.
Well, it's like what you said about the Aftermath Foundation. Like the only time you saw Leah and Mike was when they came in and they were the talent.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that was also echoed quite a lot by a lot of people.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why that help passion button got pushed so hard in me, people like Tyler and Sina, and like, I mean, it just makes me angry because they were hung out to dry, and maybe they should have known better. They're adults, but no, dude, you're putting on a show that talks about and you're trying to be they came to me twice.
Right.
And both first season and second season, it was just like too much, or I would have taken the spotlight from maybe one of the content creators or the talent, and they didn't want that. Right. So it was, but a lot of people got like, I kept saying and reaching out, like, why don't you offer counseling? Why don't you have a counselor there or a therapist there to help soft land or give them a few tools on their way out so they don't like walk out going like, all I got was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like, you know, it's like going to jail. It's like kind of going to jail for the night. So that transition was hard. I thought, and I was in LA with Aaron when they were filming the celebrity episode. I think it was the beginning of season 2 or end of season, or end of season 1 or something like that. When he started the whole Aftermath, everything, like started the page and all that. And, you know, I thought, I was like, wow, this is really going to go somewhere. And then all the stuff about Aaron came out and morals. I mean, even that's, I get where Claire and Mark were coming from. Like, we all grew up with a lot of interesting ideas shoved in our heads about morals and integrity and ethics. And, you know, I get that some of us walk a pretty staunch line on that. And some of us choose to try to have acceptance and be like, well, you know, he's doing more good than he is bad, you know? And like, so I don't know. That's a triggering term for me. That right there, that idea of doing more good than bad, that is exactly what I was told when I would ask questions about Scientology. Right, based on the greatest good. Yeah, like the greatest number. Right. What about this abuse? What about this abuse? And my mom would say, well, I think they're doing more good overall than they're doing bad. To me, that's just a way to absolve it. Like, can't you do good and bad? Why does it have to be comparison where one cancels the other out? Right. Or are you consciously doing good, but unconsciously doing bad? Like, that doesn't work either. Right. Like, you can't. So, no, I get it. And that's probably part of, I think, the coping we all have to do with is like, no matter what, life is kind of cyclical. There's the reason why Scientology was so ingrained in us, because there's enough societal cues and sayings and nuances that it's like you spend a lot of time spinning and second guessing yourself. Yeah. Because it's like, does like what I just said, you know, is more good than it's right. I remember a couple threads. I think the most healthy thing about all of us connecting were we had a couple of threads in these Facebook groups that were private, and which was weird, but it was okay, where we all talked about like our parents and the stupid shit they fed us and made us do. And for me, it was so affirming that I wasn't this oddball, like deformed little child that got, I was like, oh, there's other people. It's like misery loves company, I guess, right? But some of those were really specific, though. We were laughing about like B1 and like carob and like rice cakes and like shit like that. It's like, we could, if I had Mexican chocolate, it was good, but regular chocolate, no. No, you can't have that. Carob chips all day long. You're like, no, I hate you. Gross. Terrible. Yeah, so bad. They ruined chocolate chip cookies. Carob chip cookies, gross. Oh, yeah, everything was carob. It's so gross. Don't eat carob, anybody. But it does blow off steam. And I felt like for a while there, it was like I had a tribe. I know that's such a cliche, but this was kind of during the hashtag tribe, you know, hashtag blessed or whatever, not to be right. How or whatever. But you know, I don't have any family left, really. And so this idea that we could have this shared
childhood or shared existence with these other people, I mean, it is really healing. I just don't know how to keep it in the healing zone and not have it go into essentially a cult. Because I don't mean to be dramatic, but that's kind of how I felt. My body felt like I was in a cult there at the end, where I was like,
Right.
I can't talk about the abuse happening to my friend because it's bad PR. That's literally the point that I was at and I have been at in this situation. And that is exactly where I was in Scientology. And I honestly don't know how to reconcile that without like going crazy and just going rogue and doing my own thing and being like, fuck
Right.
everybody. I'll break up with you before you break up with me.
That's right.
Well, which is what I've done historically.
Right. And that doesn't help patterns. Like we have to break those. We have to be better and strive to break those patterns. Otherwise, they're destined to repeat themselves. I agree. I think. I mean, you and I have a similar story on the board. That was. I'll be very general, but we heard. I remember hearing about the aftermath, them rejecting, and then I found out that it was true, and I get both sides. I heard both sides, and not that it's fair, like if you're going to help somebody. And I knew that when we were on the board, our goal was to, like, as you mentioned, was to help those people, and we even talked about, if you're an ex and you qualified, if we have the money, we could do a lump sum that you just get for having endured that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember there were always these rumors, and like what Mike touched on his last videos about that behavior and operational procedures that ended up happening on the aftermath. Well, I experienced that on this SPTV Foundation, where there was a hypothetical of somebody that's a pretty high profile ex, maybe sending in an application to ask for some help. And my and a few other people's initial reaction was, of course, if we can, let's help them. Not they're this or we hate the, and I'd say 90% of the board also agreed with that, or the ones that knew, where just a few maybe didn't or were coerced into a pattern of like, it's like, it's like people touch on NLP, right? Neuro linguistic programming.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people with cluster B or that have those antisocial characteristics are able to use that neuro linguistic programming in a way to help them create a narrative that people just start repeating. You ever been in the room with somebody where you're talking to them and then at the end of the sentence, they're like saying what you say?
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like, and then going off of that, like that's sort of a form of that. So I think there was part of that kind of happening just naturally through maybe how we're raised. I mean, it's a complex web, right? Yeah. And it's hard. Luckily, I had gotten out of a relationship that I had tried to endure for years, like a decade. Like, and I knew all the time, but I thought I could change. I thought I could change them. I thought I could show them by acting or by being that person, or every way. I bent myself over backwards trying to do that. And that's sort of what we were dealing with, is you can't, that person isn't receptive to anything, then there's nothing you can say to them.
Right.
And at one point, it's hard to, like, you condemn that. Well, fuck you. I hate you, you piece of shit. I'm going to expose everything back. Well, maybe some people will respond that way, or did respond, and maybe that's justified.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the more that you've had hope and it been like shoved back in your face enough to break something, it's harder to then just cut somebody off and say, fuck you forever. Even with my personal relationship with my ex, her dad was an alcoholic, clearly the problem. Well, in the end, she chose him.
Right. Ugh.
right? And she hates it, and she does, but it's a hard thing that's what they're going to do. When somebody's dedicated to misunderstanding you, nothing gets in.
Right.
And not only nothing gets in, but they imbue themselves with this sense of self-righteousness, right?
Yeah.
And they think they're, so it's a hard thing to say, hey, screw you to hell. But hey, if you ever get better, give me a call, because I would want that. You know what I mean? It's like, show me. And I did a lot of jump. I think a lot of it's maybe conditions.
Okay.
Like we learned that you can't just simply atone and pivot.
Right.
You have to make up the damage. You have to say what a piece of shit you were. You have to rejoin the group only if everybody will let you. By majority. And then you still have to make up the damage above and beyond what you normally do.
Yeah.
And that's not even the road out. That's just liability. Then you're in danger. Then you're in emergency. And then even in normal operation is like, keep those lines strong. You're not even safe there's a process no matter what. So what does that make? Like, you have kids, I have kids.
Mm-hmm.
If you make it too gruesome to confront the truth, they're going to try to lie first.
Right.
Because it's hard to confront the consequences. If you say, hey, this is what happens. It's like, this is hot.
Yeah.
And they blow themselves. And it's like,
it was hot. Yeah.
Are you okay? And then next time they'll be like, hey, this is hot. And they're like, oh, I will let it sit here for a minute. Right. And that is what you look for in these kind of groups and all that. Like, we could get into the weeds about people and like how people were treated. And it just speaks to the problem more than like, that's all somatics. And was I pissed how Christy was treated? Fuck yeah, dude. That first meeting that we had, was that terrible? Absolutely. I mean, Robert's Rules of Order is pretty basic. Like, if you're going to be a part of something or the head of something, like, at least fucking educate yourself. You know what I mean? Like, so, it's like,
that was a big red flag for sure.
Right. But then it's like, you still want to give them the benefit of the doubt, because that's what I would have wanted. That's what you would have. And we want to help people. So the cause is bigger than the problem, maybe.
Right.
So you hang, and then more red flag, orange flag, whatever we want to call it, more out points, more this. And then the why becomes pretty clear. But it's like, well, shit, now do I condemn this? Because you damn well can't talk to that person.
No, and sometimes you don't even have to choose to condemn it. It's like other people choose that almost for you, because you're not doing enough. Like, you're not saying enough positive, or you're not protecting, it just becomes obvious. Even if you don't say something, like just resigning from the board is like enough then to put you in that enemy camp.
Yeah, absolutely. I have not heard back
from your resignation.
And which is fine. I went through a whole thing with that of like, did I expect a response? I kind of did, because I wanted to resolve things. I wanted to open up a communication line. I wanted to, but even that didn't work. And I tried to be really professional about it. I didn't like pick any nits. I was like, I appreciate everyone. I'm so, like, thank you for the, like, I tried to do what you would do if you were a part of an actual board. I didn't identify then as an ex-Scientologist. I identified as somebody wanting to help people recovering from a high demand religious organization.
Right.
And I happen to have some experience in that.
Right.
And that's pretty on par with drug counseling, alcohol counseling, any kind of SA counseling, any of that. So we had those, and maybe should it have started like that? And then should we have become a steering committee and actually put yes, 100%.
Yeah, probably.
100. Should we have had yearly or bi-yearly elections and traded presidents and traded treasurer? Absolutely. In fact, that was in the bylaws. And Aaron I brought it up to him before we were supposed to have that meeting. And he was like, what? I'm taking that out. I'm like, well, maybe that should be in there. Like, that's kind of like, there's your transparency. It's like, if we're really here just to help and it has nothing to do with the id or the ego, well, then let's prove it. Let's be out. And when I got R factor, that everything that the higher and mightier decided we were expected to just approve, it was like, well, I'm not going to be your meat shield. I remember even telling you that a couple times.
I think that was the theme of the experience, was meat shield. I think that's the perfect word of it, because it really did feel like that. It was like, wait, what? You want us to do? Wait, what? It was like a mirage to think that we had any actual voice.
Right. I never even saw any. Right. Even the whole like conflict of interest thing was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, I know this person. Well, you helped. Oh, never mind. I already talked to him. It's like, well, are we going to follow any rules? Like, I'm just asking, because that's what I thought we were going to like do. Right. And so, yeah, it was, and
it felt like a popularity contest when at my final, like when I that's how I felt from what I saw and understood was happening. That was the conclusion I came to. And then I felt like I was I felt like I was a mean girl at the Ex-Scientology school telling other people they weren't worthy of help. Like I was standing on that side of the
with your hands behind them.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
What he said, you know, like, and even to this day, I've heard of 3 people now who have been denied, 2 of which while we were on, and I never even heard about it.
Right.
So I don't know why I didn't hear about it. I'm not trying to blame anybody for anything, but, and not to, I guess beat a dead horse or anything like that, but it's like, I want this to be a good space though. And I don't know it seems like it just keeps falling apart. And I don't know that I even have the heart left in me to give it another try. I don't trust a single, like we don't trust a single motherfucker anymore.
As far as I know, you're OSA. So I'm
positive.
I like what you're doing with this. I think this is more of a branch.
Okay.
Because you're just being real and you're being honest and sure, can you get sassy? Absolutely. Right. And that's just and it's okay, because I know that's part of you and I accept that. Right. So it's like with us, when we had our long thing and I was like, well, we're not really friends, Liz. And you're like, oh yeah, well, should I say crap about you? And I'm like, well,
but it seems guys. I'd say Dylan and I have a pretty long, like we've known each other a long time. We've talked to each other about deep things that have happened, deep things that, we might not show. We live in different states. We're not like barbecuing together all the time, but like I'd say I consider you a friend. So take that or leave it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, absolutely.
But even I think that the insidiousness and some of my choices, maybe some of yours, who knows, like even our relationship got really strained at some point during all this, because it's like, you don't know who you can trust. You don't know.
Right.
I
felt like I was OSA, like for a while. I was like, God, I must be OSA, but nobody's contacted me. So I don't know. Like maybe it's programmed in me and it's like, I'm a Manchurian candidate.
We're Manchurian candidates.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I'm all about that for sure.
Well,
I was up at CST. Like, it's funny because like I go through these weird phases of like all these people bitching about management. I'm like, do you know the highest level ex-Scientologist that's ever come out of this org and spoken out, who that person is?
I'm assuming it's Mike or Marty. You?
Because I was above, even though they were right. Like, so but I don't sit there. I'm not like, that's the thing, is you don't sit there and say, right, oh, I'm the shit. Like, I know I was a messenger before I did missions for Mike Rinder. I knew Mike Rinder very well. I knew Marty. I talked to Marty, probably one of the most, there was a huge kerfuffle in the second gen group about me speaking to Marty in like 2011 or something. And I was like, yeah, I talked to him. Fuck.
Right.
I talked to a lot of people. Like, I was around. I'm kind of a fly on the wall. I'm the person that like nobody remembers. And I don't mind it. It's not like, this isn't a pity thing. But in this year, I was like, I did probably 60 to 70 missions,
Right.
like Sea Org missions.
You were an officer. You were your post, I guess.
Well,
I
kind of, yeah. I was and then I was the department. But it's like, this isn't, like I said before this, I didn't come to this space to sit there and be like, I mean, do I feel those things? And do I feel all that weird turmoil? And, you know, like, I was responsible for building the underground storage facilities that are going to house the tech. I mean, Scientology's stuck in time. They think nothing's ever going to change.
Right.
You know, and this, like, it's a hard, we can all get in there. Do I feel bad about all the people I left behind? Yeah. And I know that Mike did, and I know that Claire does. And I know that a lot of those people, because they're still there believing. And I remember, I still have freaking problems with it. You know, like we talked about, greatest, like, wait, is that sign? People stop me and are like, I have no idea what you just said. And I'm like, oh.
Right.
Huh.
Well, I got to be honest with you. I'm having like a mini faith crisis because all this stuff coming out about Epstein and like all this, it almost feels like what Scientology taught us was happening is actually happening, if that makes sense.
Have you ever watched Ancient Aliens?
Yes, absolutely.
Freaking crazy. I'm like, oh no, maybe they were right.
Maybe they were right. Is like, no, I'm not. There are a few things where I'm like, what did L. Ron Hubbard stumble upon? Like what?
Gnostic.
Yes,
If
this
I-
Gnostic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's still going on to this day. But then immediately I go into a Scientologist, like OSA, frame of mind, and I'm like, no wonder they're like they'll do anything to fight this big demon. And it's just, that's where I've been. I've had some faith issues as of late because there are things that I'm looking at Scientology going, holy shit, in this instance, are they the good guy? But we don't need to talk about that today.
I'd say they're more of a conduit. Like, there's the truth is behind, and then they took, it's almost like how all the great religions splintered.
Yes.
Right? Like how the main church, and then it's really similar, it feels, to that, where it's like, if we can tap into something that people genuinely believe is true and actually is fact, that's going to entice. So it's still all it's the medicine man. You know, we got trouble right here in River City.
Oh my gosh, with the capital T that stands with T that rhymes
with pool, right? Right. And so you sell something that you sell fear. Yeah. Disguised as whatever, religion, philosophy, that kind of thing. So it's as old as time, but he did it with, and especially with Aleister Crowley and that part of the Gnosticism, you know, going off of Thelma and all that is, it makes it a little more deceivious, right? And with his background, just being kind of a genuine piece of shit. Like LRH was a little liar, cheater, con man, hypnotist. Like, I mean, those are almost, no Mormons get mad, but almost like Joseph Smith, right? Before he decided to get better. And that's a good cyclical thing. All you have to do is atone and pivot, and don't repeat those behaviors. If you're in a group, if we're in a group and everybody's like, God, I hate blue, I hate blue too, and you just keep wearing blue, it's sort of like, well, if that's part of your agreement to be in the group, maybe don't wear blue and be cool with it. Like pivot, and it's like, and that's a terrible example.
Blue. Just fuck you.
Right. Well, and then that's maybe not your group, right? Like,
Do you ever wonder if anything is your group though? Because I wonder that for myself. Like maybe I'm just damaged when it comes to groups because of the way that I was raised, because I often get uncomfortable. I mean, I don't know.
We're like homeschoolers on steroids. Is growing up, is because I homeschooled my kids until 6th grade.
Okay, yeah.
And then I sent them to school, and they're great. They're straight A students. My oldest is honor society. I mean, amazing. But they're kind of socially awkward a little bit, and I blame myself wholly because I'm not like
COVID. Because COVID really was rough for a lot of kids, and it takes a long, I mean, just the isolation. That was a weird fear-based.
Yeah. No, my youngest is a little more shy like that. I can see how my oldest is super outgoing, but he sees people. He's very overt. So he sees people react, like ignore and pretend like they can't see him. And, you know, and it's like, because that's socially, that's kind of how we do things now.
Yeah.
We don't talk shit out. We don't talk at the gas pump anymore, at the grocery store, or have those. It's very rare, at least for
I do
right
that
now.
all the time.
And so do I, and I look like a freaking weirdo, so
Yeah.
I stop after a while.
Maybe we're just like desperate for community. No, I love my little town,
Nope.
and I honestly, I know the guy at the self stand, like Brad. He's worked there for 8 years.
Nice.
If you don't know the guy at your checkout stand, you should get to know him, because not only is it fun to actually name drop when you leave, bye Brad, then Brad hooks you up if you can't find something.
Yeah, I live in between two towns. One town's so small that they're cliquey and they don't like anyone. So, and I'm an outsider and will always be an outsider. And then the other town is half Indian, half
Okay.
redneck. It's just a weird town. So I kind of keep to myself a little bit. I live in the middle of nowhere. So.
Well, yeah, I used to live in the middle of nowhere. Now I'm not quite so much, but I think that's one thing that you and I both really value, honestly, is like being able to get away from the rest of the world and just like quiet, secluded, little
right,
decompress.
It's part of, I think that's how I would like to think that you sort of responsibly deal with this thing that's so overwhelming and so hard to deal with. Is that, can I ever say I'm healed and it's great and I'll be fine? No. Do I get anxiety sometimes and around a lot of groups? Sure. Can I muster through it and wax enthusiasm? Absolutely, all day long. But I have to go and recover.
Yeah.
I have to, because it's like, and it's so hard. So yeah, it's weird isolating yourself and feeling better, but sometimes it's better than dealing with all that crazy stuff. And this was I count this as a loss. This whole foundation experiment. And I think, and that's fine. You got to take an L sometimes, and that's how you learn. I learn more stuff losing and recovering than I do winning and being like, I rule, so I'm down to take the L.
Parent, I mean, I never did sports, but being a sports parent and parenting through that, I've learned a lot about the power of taking a loss and the character building and like,
right.
Showing back up again with your head held high, leaving it all on the court.
Right. Practicing harder if you want to be better and like, digging in. Right.
Yeah. It's funny because I don't know like again, I'll just keep doing this. This is honestly me holding myself accountable because I do feel like I've retreated from this community, yet I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of things to say. And so I kind of get stuck in that, like, should I say more? Should I say less? I don't know. It just gets weird. So I'm like, you know what? I'll just show up every day, try my best, see what happens.
I love it. I think showing up every day is huge. You got one on me. I feel guilty now.
Oh, it wasn't. It was also a reflection on you. You can show up here anytime or on your own. You're perfectly capable. But I want to do that more. I don't want to say like, oh, I want to rebuild the community. That sounds skeezy and gross to me. It's not really me to rebuild anything. I don't know what my goal here is. But
why don't we all stand in our own space and support each other and be comfortable commingling, and like it doesn't have to be all or nothing.
Right.
It doesn't have to be come over and play in my compromise is you start walking your way, I'll start walking mine, right?
Right.
And we'll meet in the middle. It's a song. But but that's compromise, right? And that's part of it but you have to be comfortable in your own. If you're a mess and you either have to be like, I'm a freaking mess and I need help and I'm going to probably be out of control. At least it's like, okay, I can accept that, or I can't do that right now. Like I can cheer you on from over here, but that's going to drive. I will dive in and I will drown myself before you do. Yeah. And if that's the case, then that's what I mean. Kind of be, I don't want everybody to be in my space. I don't want to be a leader. I want to be a peer. And I want to feel like I have people that I can talk to when I feel like I have nobody. And that's a weird thing because I'm not like, not to like, oh, poor me, but like just be not even like just a hi, how are you doing? Or how, like, I'll go weeks without my phone, like other than business. I talk to clients all the time and blah, blah. Like, it's so different than having a personal I notice it most when I like buy something. Like if I have to buy a new work truck or something.
Okay.
I feel like I'm like, I need to talk to somebody. Is this a good decision?
Yeah.
I don't know if I did the right. I mean, like, if somebody would be like, hey, that's stupid, Dill. You don't need that. And I've done, and months later, I've been like, shit, why did I buy that? And I'm like, so maybe that's why. Maybe it's personal and selfish, but
That's all.
I think that's what I don't,
Yeah.
like you see, it's like the idea of not being jealous when you see people just being able to call like one of the guys, that's a guy I work with. His mom, he has a great relationship with his mom. He's like 38, something like that. He talks to his mom all the time. And his dad came by a couple of times, and his dad's he's getting older. And he was like, after his dad left, he kind of was like, man, it's such a pain in the butt, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at him, and this was like the third or fourth time it happened. I was like, you know what? Just miss me with that shit, dude. Like, if you want to complain about how much your dad loves you and he stops by, like there's times where I would have begged for that.
Right.
Like crawled up in a corner in a ball, crying begged for somebody just to say I love you or a hug or something. Like, and I didn't mean it in a bad, but he was like, dude. And then now he appreciates his dad so much more. When his dad calls him, he's like, I love you, Dad.
Right.
I'm like, it's not something to be ashamed of, bro. Like, that's part of it is.
Yeah. Well, a good friend too, like a real friend, they want you to have everything. And if they, like they want everything that's great for you. So if they can be like, hey man, don't forget, like your dad loves you, something a lot.
Right.
And it wouldn't be a stranger who would give you that feedback. It would only ever be a friend who was in that position to ever even say that to you. So
right. And I'd shared enough of like, I don't go out, I don't lead with that, but he knows my situation. My kids don't have they don't have any extended family or, it's like me. So it's, after sometimes when it's cold and dark, you feel sad about that. And most of the time you don't, because that's life. A lot of people, that's the other thing with kids is like, I tell them things that I need to remind myself of. Yeah. It's like, well, you don't know what that person just came from or where they're going or what they're dealing with.
Right.
So if we want grace, we have to show that grace. And even if people are kicking it, like you swim out to save somebody drowning, they're not going to be like, oh, well, thank you. I'm glad you made it out. Like, they're going to beat the shit out of you while you're trying to save them. And that's part. So if you go out trying to save somebody, realize you're probably going to get beat up a little bit. And that's part of it. So that's sort of what I thought. And honestly, if you look back, and it always makes sense linearly. I don't know. That's linearly.
That.
Well, because like we had those groups, we all kind of connected. We shared an amazing therapy thing in LA that was a couple, like that to me was a life-changing event. Like that was amazing. And what endeared me to you and a lot of other, that was real. That's something nobody can take away from us.
Right.
And that's the things in life that I want to cling to are those. And that's what I thought, like we were moving in a way that we could now offer those things to other people. And we were in a position to where we could say, yes, I want to help you. Like, let me call that person. Let me talk. Like, I know what it was like when I just got out and I felt like everybody was like out to get me or OSA or this or that. Like but you have to be in a place in order to do that. And what I think we found was there was a lot of people that weren't in that place. And could we have endured and made it through? Sure. But it would have taken a few other people to have a lot more effort and a lot more willingness to change and be malleable. And that never came to fruition. And, it's hard to tie yourself to. Was there any big illegal? I don't think so. I don't think that I don't believe it's malicious intent.
I don't think so.
I think it's more egocentric driven.
Yeah.
And you can't talk to people like that. It doesn't matter. I've tried.
Right.
I've tried.
Yeah.
And it's just not worth it.
Well, yeah, exactly. And on the board, there was also the structure built into it. Like any board or any foundation, you have like a voting structure, you have an executive structure, and those people have roles. So that system also, I think, was, I don't know, kind of.
Well,
I
but
guess,
we could, I mean, it's,
yeah.
I guess to speak to that, they set up the Aftermath Foundation super willy-nilly. Like, I get it. Lewis and Aaron set it up. I was there. I saw all of it go down.
Right.
Like, and they were the main people doing it. And then when the Aftermath took off, like, it was literally, I remember when it happened, I heard about it. It was like, oh, they don't want anything to do with it, but they'll be a part of it. That was like Mike, Rinder, Mark, and they didn't want to do the administrative crap. They have enough on their plate. Claire runs her business, Mark, like, they're all busy.
But they'll lend their name, their brand, their
Right.
identity.
And at that point, and that's something at the time, they were and are in the X community very notable. And I think it's okay to start that way when it's organic. And what I'm relating this to is I've been a part of a lot of nonprofit organizations, all through rugby.
Okay.
Every rugby team is a nonprofit organization. We have elections, we have meetings. Some are loosely run, some are tightly run. And so I've experienced, like, oh, by the way, that was our, this guy's president, that was our voting, and then actually have real voting and by proxy and all that. So I tried to offer that when I came in, but my point is the Aftermath was set up that way and it was kind of run that way. And I think when those people that came in are more administratively motivated, they tried to change some of that. And right, wrong, or indifferent, probably right, because you need to grow and fit into those forms if you're trying to be that entity. And when all the crap came up, and PR is a big part of it, public relations is huge. You can't be going off to Columbia and banging hookers and doing blow, like, that's not okay. And or hide it better. I don't fucking know. Don't be such a dumbass about it. Like, understand that that's important and you protect that. So when he started the other foundation, it was sort of like more of the same. It wasn't like, let's start out putting more I's and crossing more T's. It was like, well, this has always worked. So, and that was obscured from us intentionally. I don't think so. Because when something's just normal, it's just normal. That's how they do it. And then we all came in going, oh, well, and we're educating ourselves and we have all these ideas and we want to, and real passion, maybe not ego involved.
Right. And
it becomes this weird thing that's stuck in the past, but doesn't fit in the future. So, it's a bummer.
Stuck. Yeah.
Right.
I feel like it was an L too. I mean, I learned a lot. I just feel like there was so much potential that I wasn't able to be a part of helping people, which is like what I've always wanted to do. And then at the same time, I never felt like I wanted to, like, take anybody out or down or anything like that. Because if people are still getting help, then I feel like, oh, well, it's better that they're helping some people. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a hard one, right? Like, do you become this? That's hard.
Sorry,
like,
go ahead.
Are they? Well, no, I mean, it's like, if they're being helped genuinely and it's without any kind of damage, that's great. But if you understand that there's damage being done, it's hard not to speak out, especially in the way our society is developing this way. Is mental health has become more front and center. The body's been completely just disregarded, but mental health is pretty much in the limelight. And you have to kind of grow. It's the same. You can't stagnate and call mentally handicapped people the R word. And I grew up with my uncle Scientologist, dad Scientologist, aunt Scientologist. They were the most disgusting people I've ever. I didn't realize it because it was so normalized. Right. So I guess that's the caveat to that, is as long as they're doing it genuinely and they're really helping people, instead, and even I would go so far as to say, like, even with Jenna's video when she was like, behind the scenes, he's like, oh, that piece of crap, why didn't you get it? I had heard those things, and that's not what you need to be. You need to be all in on that. Like, no matter what will help them. And it doesn't mean every once in a while going out of pocket to be like, see how, like, yeah, go be a philanthropist then. Make enough money just to give it away. Great.
Mhm.
And you can be but most philanthropists are very selfish. They're
Yeah.
feeding this deep sense of shame.
Right.
And that's right. Like, we just lost one, right? That
Yeah.
86 person, right? So once he didn't, like, whatever didn't serve him, fuck everybody. Right.
Right.
Good job, buddy. You know, next time go to Vegas. It saves everybody a lot of bullshit. Lose it in a couple hands and then go home
Yeah.
and shame spiral somewhere else. But those are gonna, like, when you have true crime and you have this and reality TV, this is part, I guess, when you put yourself in the public domain, this is kind of what you're gonna get. Which brings me to, like, so my idea for a YouTube channel, which was probably super diluted when I first got here, was to kind of make a diary of, like, this is my life, this is my, and that's why I love what you're doing here with the it's sort of like a daily, like, here's my basic topic, I'm gonna shoot the shit a bit about it and get into what I do and take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not playing the drama card, I'm not playing the this. If you want to come on and talk to me, like, look, here I am, let's go.
Yeah. I do think we need more of that in the world.
Right.
I mean, world in general, but, like, I don't know. I think the open dialogue does seem to help. I'm not really
Definitely.
sure how, but it definitely seems to work some things out. I mean, I would not assume that we would have a contentious conversation. I wasn't, like, thinking that when you came
Well, but
on
even
here.
I think having a conversation is a discussion.
Right.
It's okay to have counter viewpoints, and it's okay to even say, with all that info, I used to think this, but I'm starting to agree with you. You know,
Right.
and it's okay to have those. I always notice it when I have a conversation with somebody and it's like a deep or something, and people are like, God, you guys seem like you were angry. I'm like, are you kidding me? I loved that conversation.
Right.
Like, it was so amazing. Like, I
Yeah.
was challenged. Like, because I'm willing to be wrong. And I'm not asking of anybody anything I'm not willing to do myself.
Yeah. That feels like, I don't know if that's something that we got from Scientology, or I think some non-Scientologists have it. It's this idea that somehow being wrong about anything ever is like a weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not subscribe to that at all. There's no way we could all know everything all the time. There's no way, unless we've
Right.
experienced everything, read every single book, you know, everything. That's crazy. To me, if I think about what strong leadership really looks like, what I need in order to stand behind that person with giving it my all, and when I hear negative things about them or you know, I'm still standing fast in that, I don't want to call it loyalty, but, like, in that stance, that presence,
Mm-hmm.
I need a leader to, I say be humble, but, like, I need a leader to know that the smartest man knows that he doesn't know. There's probably a better saying for that. Like, there's probably some quippy little saying.
Right.
And maybe that's from Scientology, because it's like, L. Ron Hubbard knew everything. You can't question him about anything at all. And so when anybody comes out and they say, I know everything, or it's my way or the highway, I'm not even really always mad at them. I lose my respect for them and their leadership. That's what happens
Right.
to me. It's like, I don't know. I just think a real leader has to say either I don't know and I'll do my best to find out by hearing from other people who know, or to just say, I was wrong. I was wrong. And I'm not talking about anybody specific. I literally would want that from the president of the USA. I want it from my school board leader, anybody. But I wonder if we're missing a little bit of that. Remember, in Scientology, there's this dissemination tool called You Can Be Right. Isn't that what it's called?
Right.
And it's the idea that if we let people be right, they'll open up their mind. If you agree with them, they'll kind of open up the mind and soften the conversation to be disseminated.
Right. It's a big league sales technique.
Exactly. And there's an element that does really work, honestly.
Right.
But I kind of feel like that's a little bit of what's missing in this sort of community or dialogue. It's like, it's not a weakness to have been wrong or to change your mind. You don't even have to say you're wrong. Like, you can change your mind. You can pivot, as you put it. I don't know. And again, I'm not trying to harp on any one leader. There's a lot of leaders out in the big real world I'm very disappointed with.
Right.
But where's that? Where's the humble approach of like, because we're not going to a destination. It's not a leader who's taking us to somewhere we know. There's not a path to follow. If we were here as an ex-Scientology community, you're leading them into the desert. Like we don't know what's on the other side. And so I don't know. I feel like we're all lost in the desert, bud. That's what I feel like.
Well, gosh, I don't know. The hard thing about, I think with being a leader, like becomes a lot of responsibility.
It does.
And in order to be a good leader, you have to be concise.
Yep.
You have to have thought everything through and be very articulate in exactly what you expect from the people that are then under your leadership. And a good leader wouldn't necessarily, you wouldn't want to show all your vulnerabilities because you've worked on them ahead of time in order to give the best presentation to set your people up for the best success. And that's why responsibility is like, you don't take it like, if you're a reluctant leader, it's going to show in the way you articulate, in the way you give orders.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, go over and fix that hay over there. Well, what do you want us to like stack it? Do you want us to bale it? Do you want to like, you have to be, and that's, and I guess also the part of that is it a personal thing or is it a business / war kind of thing where if you're a leader, your job is to be as clear and concise as possible. And all the followers' job is to execute those orders exactly as stated. And then if the orders are wrong, it's the general's fault. And that's when they have to fix it and pivot. And if it's the followers' fault, well, then they can be remanded or whatever. And that's where it's like the leadership thing's hard. I don't know in like in this area, there is any room for a leader. Like I don't look at Mark and Claire, or I never looked at Mike as a leader. In Scientology, I did.
Would you not consider the board president a leader? You don't have to.
No, I mean, in a sense of title, sure.
Okay.
But with that title comes expectations. You don't put yourself as the president of somebody and then act like one of the members.
Right. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Right.
I mean, that is the thing. The leadership position, I mean, of course, in the world, it has been pushed upon people in the past, like in general, but in an ex-Scientology, if we're just talking about this, I'm not saying there should be a leader either. Like we're just talking. I would just think that if a position is crafted to say that I make decisions on behalf of other people, and I am the gatekeeper for resources or conduit, maybe gatekeeper is a rude term. I think creating that position and then putting yourself in that position, I mean, I don't know how else to describe that other than creating a leadership role.
Sure. No, there's nothing. I totally agree. It's like the responsibility of leaders, right, is that if you put yourself in that role, you have to act that way. You have to be that when you're doing that.
Is that a Scientology thing? Is that a culty thing to be like, okay, I'm gonna say, okay, I'm whatever. I don't know if I was a leader. I don't even know what that would look like. I'm starting a support group. I'm gonna bring support resources to the people, this group of people. I would say that I'm not saying you're a leader. Maybe you're in a leadership position.
So I would look at it like this. If you were that leader and you want to start a support group and there's 2 doors, one door has 10 people, one door has 1,000 people. Okay. You can choose so you walk through the door with 1,000 people, you only need 10. Okay. To go on to do your leadership board or whatever you're doing. Well, in that way, it's a my way or the highway. You can be like, this is my plan. This is what we're doing. And you can go find those 10 people that will exactly execute. That's the responsibility of a leader, is to find the people that will execute your plan. If you are also a leader and you walk in the door and there's 10 people and you need 10 people, well, then you're a player's coach kind of thing. you have to deal with what you have. You have to put the people in the positions that'll get it done, and you have to work and not only, it's like
I see what
there
you're saying.
used to be foremans, right,
Mhm.
on construction sites,
Mhm.
and now most of the foremen show up with their bags on, and they're framing, and they're in there doing it because there's less people doing it.
Yeah.
And you have to make do. Like our first rugby team at the University of Nevada, we had 18 people, and we had to put 2 teams on the field each week of 15.
Jeez.
So our first team, we had to pick. We played teams like Cal Berkeley, who had 80 people showing up to practice,
Right.
and they needed their 15 or 30. They could pick.
Right.
They had 3 or 4 deep in every. We had
Right.
1 or 0 deep in every position.
Right.
And
So when a player gets tired, they can rest if they have
or
a
if you
backup.
have tape and you just learned, you're like, well, guess what? Trial by fire this week. You're playing. If you're driving, you're playing.
Right.
So it's I think that's the biggest thing with leaders is you got to know, if you agree to be in a leadership role, you have to understand what that is. If you don't, then you have no business being in it.
Yeah.
That's kind of my, and once you realize you're not in it, defer to a strength.
Right.
And make it the group is bigger than the individual.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? That's like straight out of Star Trek, right? The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
So,
weird because basic human nature and basic group principles or whatever, just relationships of groups naturally really do overlap with so many culty things that I don't feel healed really enough to know. I'm just like, ooh, is that unhealthy? Is that healthy? Like what you're describing is so normal, the needs of the many over the needs of the few. And if you're a leader, of course, you have to make really hard decisions sometimes, and that will be the needs of the many over the needs of the few.
right.
But then it's so easy also to criticize the person in that position because it's like, you can't make everybody happy as a leader.
Well, and that shouldn't be, that's not your job, is to make everybody happy. Like your job is to get, like, if it was a personal thing and it was about mental health and everybody being happy, well, that's a whole different ball of wax, right?
Right.
But if you're an organization dedicated to helping people that are just getting out of a high demand or high control religious organization, then there's none of that should even be a part of it. But again, when somebody's dedicated to misunderstanding, not much gets in. And so there's the filter is off. It's closed.
Right.
There's no, and that's like, I've realized that I am willing to go along with something. I'm willing to see a few out points. I'm willing to speak up. And when that gets met with either a wall or with rejection a couple of times, I'm not willing to keep putting myself through that over and over, expecting a different result. At that point, I realize it's my choice to step away. It's my choice to detach myself. And that's the hard disconnection thing. I want to give them more chances. I want to keep saying, well, if there's just something I could say.
Right.
Dad. Oh, right. Like, it's hard, right? Like,
yeah.
Like my dad's what, 78 now, almost 80. Like he's still up there being stupid guy. But there's nothing. I spent 20 years.
Your dad makes me the maddest.
I know. I'm sorry. That sucks. It sucks.
No, don't be mad for me, but like, I don't know. The sass comes out.
He's a really cool dude. And he's just fucking chose a faith.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. I've tried to forgive him. I've tried to hate him. I've tried to pretend I was his brother. I've beat the shit out of myself.
Yeah.
Trying to get him. And that's where it's like with Aaron and other things, I don't have that anymore. That's why when I texted you, I was like, what up? I mean, I really love you and I really think you're my friend. And I feel bad about doing that. But it's that vulnerability of, like, fine, I'll just go away and I'm going to put myself in his, nobody's ever going to, and it's hard and it's ugly. And like you said, you're messy. And most people, when people are messy, they're like, and you're just like, fuck. I push people. I will sit there forever and hold on. I don't know if it's comforting, but a lot of people go through this in other places. And I think that's why we do talk about community here.
Right.
Is there are people that have been in domestic cruddy relationships. There's people that have dealt with parents that are just jerks and kids. And like, it's easy to get short-sighted enough to think that, oh my God, my plight is so bad. And then you start seeing, wow, okay, it's not, and not to wallow in suffering or anything, but like, I don't know. It's sort of like if we're all trying to dig ourselves out, it feels like, okay, I can look over and pull up my bootstraps because that person's trying to dig themselves out too. And that's what I think community, like, we don't want it. We were trying to help. Why do you stay so long in a crappy, because you think you can say something to make that person see,
Right.
you know, or confront that shame or that, and they don't want to. They don't want to. Even with Aaron, it's when you're close to somebody, and not close like, you know, hey bud, or like when you understand where they came from, it's not hard to see why they are the way they are.
Right.
The hard part is not being able to say, hey, you don't have to be that way anymore, bro.
Right.
You can stop. Like, like that shield isn't necessary, because I get it. But that's not something, and that's, again, we're spinning our, and I'm willing to do anything. Does that seem softer? What about this jerk? Knock it off. I'm only doing it because I love you. Like, so it's sort of like, at one point we have to step back and say, I'm here for you, but I'm going to be here for you.
Right. Right.
I'll throw you a life preserver and you can swim over. And I will help you, and I will dry you off, and I will feed you, and I will do everything I can to help you. But you gotta take that raft and you gotta swim over to me, because you're gonna kill me and I'm gonna let you kill me.
Right.
And that's I think part of why I got involved. I don't want to speak for you, but I think that's why you got involved. You have a lot of empathy, and when it's met with resistance, it's hard not to snap back. I feel the same way, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, the empathy is a double-edged sword.
Right.
You know? And I don't know how everybody else feels empathy. I'm starting to wonder if my empathy is just like heightened, or if I'm a sensitive Sally.
I think hypervigilance and empathy are pretty close. Like, we're all hypervigilant and we all overthink. And I'm
good term.
I feel comfortable saying that as a we.
Yeah.
And that's hard, because you recognize, like, do I have a lot of antisocial characteristics? Yeah, and they terrify me. You know, am I the first one that wants it to be me because I want to fix it? Yes. Like, absolutely. You know, like it's hard. But at the same time, that's where acceptance over expectations comes in, is you have to accept that person exactly where they are. And if you can't, you have to have distance and set boundaries. And it sucks. It sucks. When you see it, you can see it on their face. You can see it in their, I got those same texts that you got. Nora got those same texts. Mike got those. Sterling got those. Everybody got those. And it was all like, my immediate reaction was, dude, just like atone, like say you're sorry.
That were like, hey, this is going to happen. This is what.
Yes.
This is the story. So you're prepped, basically.
Right. Yeah. I'm running shot on this and that and this, so I don't lose my supply.
Right.
You know, and it's sort of like, and we're all willing to fall into that role. And we were all trained to be in that role.
Yes.
Right. Like that's
the part that's so frustrating in some ways, because it's like when somebody knows the collective sort of vulnerabilities of a group as well, it's hard. I mean, it's hard not to take advantage if that's what your goal is, but like, it just feels like an extra slap in the face when somebody finds your weaknesses and then exploits them, I guess, emotionally. That's
Well,
what I feel like happens
they're
constantly.
only exploiting them because they're based in shame. They're based in humility. Like, and
Exactly.
that's the hard part. It's like, dude, why don't we all just, and that's where it's like we think we're doing, it's like that. I keep replaying that group that we had in LA.
Okay.
And it's like, if we could all just get into that environment, we could sort all this out in like 2 days.
This is a very good idea. So I've actually been thinking about this a lot, about in real life things that it would be great. I don't know how to financially pull it off. That's obviously the money in the world. But like, I do think that a retreat of some would be great. I do, because it brings
It's
us back
triggering,
to
Liz. I don't want to hear about it.
Well,
That's why I bought my property where I am, was to do this whole retreat thing and have the aftermath.
party at
pay
Dylan's
for
house,
it.
BYOB. Well, I mean, we
Yeah.
could talk about that sometime if you ever really, if your spot is available for that kind of thing. I do think that that's where, if I look back on my ex-Scientology time, the real friendships, the real bonds I've made always included some kind of in real life thing. And I'm not saying that's a fix to whatever, but maybe there is some community to be had, because when you're looking at the actual face of somebody who you disagree with, but you're in the same room, you kind of have to keep talking it out, not like hashing it out, but I don't know, it can be so healing. As I'm saying,
I wouldn't even think it would be about that so much. Like, I don't know that it would be like, you have to atone to, like, if we had a hypothetical meeting place and everybody showed up with no expectations, just acceptance, and we had a similar 2-day thing as we did before. Only thing I would say was the piece with the therapist should have been longer.
Yeah,
because
so
it was
about a
just
time where like we had time to get together socially and kind of hash things out. Not that's the worst word.
Just talk,
introduce ourselves, talk. Thank you. That's a much better word. Talk. Have you guys heard about this thing called talking?
We're talking.
Yeah. And then we did have a lead session words, a group therapy experience.
Right.
When I think of a retreat, I definitely don't think about a retreat with people getting together to force people to connect, just sitting there in a chair or something. Usually,
or force people to heal.
No, none of that.
Like,
if you had just activities where everybody who wanted to be in the same environment could come, and you have a hike and a yoga and a meal and a group therapy and a
loosely planned out. Like, exactly. Yeah.
Or the opposite of a cult is.
Right.
Maybe a chair massage, maybe like some really yummy feel good things also, because it can be a lot, but that's what I imagine. And I imagine people just willing to come for a positive experience for themselves and for their own healing, but open to be willing, like open to hanging out with others. I don't know. It sounds dumb when I say it, but maybe
No, it doesn't. I think it's just a way to, like, I notice in social situations that I can endure it, and then I like either become uncomfortable and I just want to leave,
right?
Or I kind of forget about everything and everything's organic and it's great.
That's so true. Yeah,
I think and
that's up to the leadership of the event.
I think if we had, it would like a loose thing, and not even like I use that as a gauge, because it was so organic that nobody expected some of the things that happened. Like, we all just were open and honest, and we let a lot of I let a lot of emotions out that I had never planned on ever dealing with again.
Yeah.
And I, even up until the moment, I wasn't going to deal with it. And then I was like, I'm not crying. I don't cry. And I do cry. But I wasn't going to that weekend. But you know what I mean? That's where the organic, that's what you need. And that's what, and like, if you look back, who was the leader? Nobody. Like, we were all, I mean, there's people that organized it.
Facilitator, I guess, but she was not, she never at any point told anybody how to do anything or how to be at all. She literally was just like, what do you need to get there? Okay, let's figure it out.
Right. Well, and the rest of it was all of us just sort of fumbling around, being our awkward social selves. And it was so great to be socially awkward with a bunch of people that get it. Like, yeah, we say stupid shit. Although in those groups, we didn't say stupid shit because everybody understood. So it was great. You know, those were the cool. It's like growing up and saying, yeah, your mom did carob too. And like, a lot of people be like, what are you talking about? Like, you didn't.
Right. The energy,
you know?
was almost palpable when
Right.
And it is
Exactly.
funny now that I think about it, because none of us really, as far as I know, set out to be like, I'm going to heal from this or that. We really were just open to having an experience, to getting together.
It was just, it was like a second gen get togethers. I think was like, that was it. It was just a get together.
That was just it. Yeah. I appreciate that. I wonder if that's something that we, you know, could put together again in some capacity.
If you build it, they will come.
I know.
That's what
true.
I think.
That
Right?
is true. That is true. And I think it's important to at least try to keep it, not just second gens necessarily, but like, I think it's important to keep it alive in sort of the spirit of
a meetup. I would take time and try to go to something like that, just because it's great to talk to people where you don't have to like second guess. And, you know, especially when it's not that you do every day because you're not in that, but when you put yourself in those situations of like dealing with past stuff that bothers you now, it's easier not to have, like, I've been to so many therapists that I had to explain Scientology to.
Yeah.
Everything. And then after a while, I'm like, am I telling her what I need to hear? Like, it felt like I'm like the master servant thing. It felt like now I'm the boss. Right. I'm educating you, but now help me with my problem. Right. You know, so after a while, you can get so many tools from therapists, but almost one for one, therapists suggest groups. That's why there's AA. That's why there's NA. That's why, like, because those people have gone through it and they get it.
Yeah.
You know, they get it. Like, remember drinking this or whatever their anecdotes are. It's like, it's a way to feel like, oh crap, okay, I can deal with this. Like, help cope a little. Because that's a lot of what we do, right?
Yeah.
Is cope. Cope and deal.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. I think that's kind of life. I don't think that's bad. I think the people that I'm more angry at are the people that make us believe that life's supposed to be the happiest, you're just supposed to always win, never lose, like all these unreal expectations. And it's like, life isn't like that. It isn't. I wish it was, but it sure isn't.
No.
And maybe karma, right? Like, I've heard that all my life. Like, I must have been a piece of shit Tony Ortega told me that one time.
That you
after he talked to my grandmother,
your past life.
He's like, wow, you must have been a real piece of shit. And I was like, well, this was early on, long time ago. But I thought about that for a while. I was like, yeah, it kind of was, I guess. You know, I lied.
I don't like that term, but yeah.
But you know, it's like, it's sort of, yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting, this world and this life. We got to find some kind of meaning and some kind of, you know, happiness. And I think there is an avenue where we all can support and help each other. And even people like Aaron, like, dude, he just needs to atone and get his shit fucking, like what Tori said was amazing. Like, she was calling me about all these emails and I was just like, you know, say what you got to say, Tori. If you think this is crap, go and say it. And it's true. Like, he's not doing himself any favors, and he needs to figure some shit out. Therapy would be a great start. 100%. I was scared to death of therapy. I get it. If he's in that place where it's still like, whoa, I don't need this, I'm just fine, look at my bank account. Well, maybe deprive yourself of some money and realize what life's all about and start finding God. Or something.
Jesus, no. I mean, I guess that is the thing, right? Like, if we don't have a purpose, or there's not what it's all about, is it, you know, I mean, we have to be aligned in our inner heart and self with our actions about whatever we think it is all about. And so, I mean, I think that's really good advice. I wonder what it is all about sometimes. I mean,
Yeah,
full
I
disclosure,
mean,
this is a monetized video. So I feel weird
right?
about it. I mean, not specifically, but once you start putting into play this whole like monetizing and everything, it changes the vibe of everything. And it would be great to have opportunities to just remind us what we're here for, that have
Right.
nothing to do with one person benefiting, or even one person or two people or five people help. Like, it'd be nice if we all just came on equal footing and we could just sort of exist. But I guess that's called YouTube.
And I guess like, and if we didn't, it would be great to just say it, like,
To
and just
say.
be honest about it. Like, hey, I'm here. I'm the biggest channel. I'm here to make money. This is my livelihood. I don't give a
Oh,
fuck. Like, cool. And then it's my choice whether or not I want to be a part of that. Don't pretend that, like, I'm guilty by product. I've never monetized, but I get called, oh, you're a creator. You're I'm like, I have barely 1,000 subs. Like, I never, look at all the videos I did with Aaron. I was like, I think at one point I was like, you can treat me like a hostile witness because I'm not really good at playing the game.
I don't want to be here.
Well, no, I'm just like, because I'm not going to appease and follow your narrative.
Right.
Because I don't agree with your narrative. And luckily or unluckily, all I have left is what I say out of my mouth or what I express.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing else. Like, you can't take anything else from me.
Right.
So I have what I can express and communicate, and everything else has been taken. Everything I've created, I've started, this is like my 5th chapter in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like it's just a way of like, I don't care anymore. Like, what are you going to do to me?
Right.
He put my address out there. I didn't know. That was so fucking underhanded.
Did he?
Oh, I need your physical. Yeah, all our board members, I think their address, or maybe just a select lucky few, but I was put out there. Like, everybody talks about doxing, and I honestly don't care, but this is the hypocrisy of it all.
Right.
Everybody talks about doxing, and they're like, and in Aaron's, when I first got on, I was blow drilled because everybody's talking about blowing and leaving. So I put that up. And then instead of them saying blow drill, like he wants to be called growing up and bitches when people call him Aaron or whatever that was, the first thing everybody says is, hey, Dylan, like, because they know, right? Because I put myself out there. And I have to know, like, that's kind of part of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. If I ever got into a place where I needed this, sure, I would try to monetize and I might do all the ugly terms that they call and, grift and dry big and did it. But it doesn't, this is what this platform is. They want you to monetize. They want you to have that. And I just haven't been in a position to where I'm a single dad of 2 high school kids and I have my own company. And right now is a slow season. That's why I'm here. But well, that's like, saw you, I was coming home and I was like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So I don't, like, if I get to a point, and I don't need much to live.
Right.
I'm not money motivated. The only time I'm money motivated is when there's problems. And I tell my workers, or I tell any subs, I'm like, let's just make enough money so we don't have to worry about it. And that's really the only time I ever mess around with money. I was like, we'll just out-create it. We'll just make more money than we need, and we'll all be happy and go away. And if you need more money than that, we'll go get it. Yeah. But otherwise, like, I'm not going to put myself in a position to where I know this whole thing kind of felt off. Like I said in the beginning, it felt more like I wanted to put a diary out there, and I came here intentionally to walk through this, not to be saved, not to be healed, not to find. All I wanted was to help people like you, like Aaron, like Mike, like all those people, like, because I maybe ignorantly gave everybody a pass because we have a shared experience.
Right.
And then I let people prove me wrong.
Right.
And I didn't want anybody to prove me wrong, but unfortunately, a lot of people started showing their fangs, and I don't want to play that kind of game. I don't want to show. If I show my fangs, you better kill me, because I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to, all I know how to do is go from 0 to 100. And so I don't do that.
Right.
I don't do that. I don't need to do that. I'm not in a life or death survival situation, and I'm not going to pretend I am.
Yeah.
And that's,
Yeah.
you know, that's the difference is I'm here because I choose to be,
Mhm.
and I still want to help. It's not like my help button is broken.
Mhm.
So I still want to help. I'll help anybody. You call me up and you need help and you're genuine, you're not trying to fuck me, I'll help you.
Yeah.
I'll give you the shirt off my back. Like
Yeah.
I will 1000%. Because that's what I try to live. Like I try to live by. I'm not going to ask anything of anybody that I'm not willing to do myself.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I see glimpses of hope with like this kind of stuff. This is what I thought it would be. This is something I could be like to my kid if he was doing a thing and be like, hey, go watch this because this is real.
Right.
If you want to know what it does to people, like this is real. This is how we struggle.
Mhm.
You want to understand me more? Go watch that.
Yeah.
Because you'll understand why I'm awkward. Because they have the same awkward pauses as me. They have the same, like we have a lot of that. And it would be dumb for me to for that to go unnoticed.
Right.
And to not acknowledge that for sure.
Yeah.
But
wild.
so either way, you know.
Yeah. I feel like we just talked for like 45 minutes, but we also just ended up right back where we started.
That's right. And that's awesome, right? That means a good like you wrap everything up in a nice little bow and
little bow.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it is good. I mean, well, for one, it's good to talk to you because I haven't talked to you in a while. So
yeah, no, same.
And I'm happy that
Absolutely.
you came on here, but also it's got my wheels turning for sure about some just other ways for us to interact and connect that aren't necessarily YouTube or social media or monetized social media or because the other thing is sometimes people, even if they don't want to be on the social media, if other people are there doing it or you kind of get stuck. So it would be interesting. I don't know. I'll think about it. I'll mull it over. Maybe.
Well, anytime I'm available, I'm available. Every time I'm not.
I love that for
us.
That's fair. Oh my gosh. I honestly don't feel like I can even deal with these comments, but I do want you to know that there were lots and lots of hearts for you and so many people who just think you're very sage and wise. Nora said something.
Oh, now I'm by myself because I kicked Liz out. This is way different. I feel like I'm on the spot. Let's do a question.
Can't be trusted. Hey. Don't trust me.
It's okay. I kicked you out.
I know. I'm glad you were here, honestly. Otherwise, the live would have been completely over.
So. Right? Like, done. Goodbye. Yeah, that's how you started. You got to end it like you started.
I know. What a day today has been already. Did you have one that you want to talk to, or were you just killing time?
No, I was just, trying to, dead air.
Okay. Okay. Well, I've seen all of your comments and your everything, and I'm so glad you guys were here, and I'm glad that you were here too, Dylan. But also, I have a lot of processing to do after today.
Dun, 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 dun.
I think it's time for a dumb TikTok dance today. That's
there you go.
This problem.
Dumb TikToking.
That's right.
I haven't even signed up for that. I'm pretty scared.
You should. You should, because it's a test.
No, I'm an unk. I'm an unk now, so I can't.
Oh.
No unks allowed.
What is an unk?
What? I thought you were down with the TikTok.
I don't know what an unk is.
I'm not an uncle. An uncle means I'm old.
Oh.
Old, dog.
I concur.
Old.
An unk. Okay.
Snoop's older than me. Shit.
Clearly, I didn't old here because I didn't know what you were talking about. So
that's right.
I aged myself. We just sang the fucking what is it? The Piano Man? No, not the Piano. The Music Man earlier. I'm pretty sure we aged ourselves already.
Yes. Well, that's before me. That's before both of us by a long time.
Yeah.
But a big influential thing. It makes sense to a lot of these older than us people out there.
It's our secret code.
That's right.
If I do another live sometime and we get like a party going, I'm gonna invite you to come on and we can have a little party. on here.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime I had to get my mics all jacked up, I didn't use it. See,
Mine died.
mic.
So
I couldn't get it hooked up. I bought all this. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, I came in here going, okay, I'll be a part of this. I bought all this. I never asked for. I bought a bunch of crap that I don't even use, and it just sits on my desk. But it is what it is.
yeah, we could do
I still
Tuesdays
like
with
it.
Dylan. I love that. All right. Well, I do think we have to get out of here. So
yeah, thank you for having me. I
stay
appreciate
in
you.
there for a second, okay? So I can say bye to you proper.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much for being here and shooting the shit. We'll see you tomorrow, 9:00. May or may not have merch done. No promises. That's all I got. Bye.
She knows herself, she finds her way. Through art and joy, she shapes each day, crafting beauty from the past.